My name is Mecca Mozella, and I'm from upstate New York. I began my mental health movement, I'm with you, when I was on my own personal journey of just trying to figure out ways on how I can feel better. I think because a lot of people don't understand how good we actually really can feel. I became really open and vulnerable on social media, and I just was talking about like my depression and my anxiety, and all of a sudden like all these messages like swarmed in on like people going through similar circumstances and dealing with the same things that I was. So I was like, maybe this is something that lacks in the world, and if I feel like if I had the power all of a sudden to open up and speak out, maybe I should use that power into something bigger than myself. The biggest misconception about mental health is knowing the difference between mental health and mental illness. I think that's why a lot of people just don't have the basic knowledge of what mental health is, because they're so stuck around the stigmas of mental illness to where they're not being open to the topic of mental health. Just trying to like keep that difference open, because mental illness comes from you not taking care of your mental health. If you understand the basics of mental health, then you wouldn't have to stress about mental illness too much. The biggest moment that made me feel like I was kind of like falling in my alignment of what I'm supposed to be doing is when I was signed as a model. It wasn't because of, yes, my looks of course like took play into it, but he found me on Instagram because he was intrigued on my movement. So I feel like having an opportunity with someone who's not only interested with the outside of me and someone who's trying to really get to know who I am and where I come from, and then using what I already do and like progressing that in ways is like that's successful, because now I don't have to fake it for anyone. I don't have to move in life how I don't want to, because just naturally it's just going, as long as I'm just like trusting in myself and like my process and my journey. Everything's just kind of like aligning. Amazing. It makes it a lot easier for me, because like people are asking me these questions. Like everyone doesn't ask me these questions. These questions aren't being had. Fashion's not surrounding mental health, period. So being able to bring that into that world is amazing. The biggest thing I tell people all the time is like be patient with the process. But I find myself sometimes, especially when I'm reading about like where I can be mentally, and I'm just like, all right, what we gotta do? We gotta do this. We gotta do this. We gotta do this. And then there's obstacles that come in the way. So although I tell people all the time, like, just be patient and just breathe, I freak out all the time because of my anxiety, and I don't always like take the time to breathe. I don't always take the time to meditate. I don't always take the time to eat the right things. But I still promote it because it's important. And I think as long as I keep speaking about those things, maybe I'll convince myself too. The most annoying thing that I have to deal with on Instagram is that because I'm open about like what I believe in, people sometimes try to like hit on me by like speaking about those things, and then they're like, oh, you should like go out. I'm like, no, like I'll talk to you on anything that you want to talk about, but don't try to like use that as a thing to like slide in the DMs, because you're still gonna get curved. So in the beginning, it was very stressful for me because it was my first time ever being open about the things that I was going through mentally. Because I have manic depressive disorder, and I also have major anxiety. So it's almost like physically uncomfortable for me to talk about certain things or to be placed in certain places. So I just kind of had to like forcefully break out of that. But as long as I like kept my vision open, there's a lot of people out there that need this information. Yeah, it was hard at first. My anxiety was up the roof. Like, girl, you're just telling all your business. But it's inspiring people, and people want to know more because they want to share the things that they go through.